What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We bring on guest speakers. For the second time, I'm bringing on Mr. Justin Bizzarro, Bizzarro, my man. So if you haven't seen the first episode, I'm going to skip past the introduction or like reading his bio. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the first episode. It was a great episode. We talked for so long. It's like, dude, we got to have a second one. Here we are. So Justin, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Can't complain. It's been, dude, it's been hot in Texas, bro.
Yeah.
It's been hot, I can imagine. Like 110 degree days.
And, oh man. Yeah, no, I don't have that right now. So not when I'm in Colorado, not when I'm in Pennsylvania, and even Nashville, we've had some hot days, but it's never been that hot.
Yeah, it's been like 110 degrees. Like you could just about fried egg out in the asphalt. Now I've been in some 110 degree weather. When I was in Iraq, it got upwards of like 140, 135, 140.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so it was insane how hot it got there. But what's funny is that, you know, during summer, it's extremely hot, and we were getting towards like the fall time frame. It was like August, September. And it was like August, because it wasn't into September yet. So because September is when they have the sandstorms, and that's when it's like those sandstorms like all the fucking time. You can't even see like 5 feet in front of your face. Anywho, you know, I walked outside one day and I was about to go on mission, and I was in full gear, full kit, and I was like, man, it feels great outside. Like there's a nice little breeze. It's feeling fantastic. Like, dude, I wonder how hot it is. Like it's like temperature dropped. I went over to the company talk, which is a tactical operations center. Went over to the company talk, and I looked at the thermometer that was outside. It was 110 degrees, and it felt like 70. That's how hot it was there, bro.
That's incredible. And listen, I'm Italian, and I'm half Italian, and the other half is like a mixture of like German, Netherlands, Dutch, and Native American. So I love hot weather. If you ask anyone I'm with, it's like winter time, and I have the thermostat up to like 76, and I want to be walking around the house without my shirt on. Yeah. You know, like I'm just that individual. But if it's hot outside, like I don't necessarily need air conditioning. Like I'm just like but that sounds really hot to me. That sounds like I love working out in the summertime. Like the hotter, the better. Like when I played soccer, everyone complained about the AstroTurf. If we played on Astro, it was my tactical advantage.
Yeah.
So,
I'm the same way. I like really hot weather. I'd rather it be super hot. I would rather be miserable sweating than shivering any day of the week. And so I'm half Puerto Rican. So that's like tropical warm environments is like my jam, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. Like in the house, it can be during the day. During the day, it can get up to like 78 to 80 in the house, and I'll be a little warm, but it won't be terrible. But at night, I do have to drop it. I got to put it like 68, 67 degrees at night to sleep, because I can't sleep when it's hot.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. I don't mind it. I don't mind sweating in my sleep. Sweat is not something I'm scared of. It's never been something that worried me. I grew up on a farm also, so it's like we were outdoors all the time, like hay baling in the summertime, and you got like freaking hay all over you. You're sweating. It's like matting on your skin. Like you're like, it's just one of those things where, I don't know, you just gain endurance. It's like a big word in my life right now. And I know we're going to talk about 75 hard, but I can't. It's, you know it, you've been a soldier. I'm sure endurance is part of it, right? You know, I think Napoleon is the one who said something like endurance is the number one best quality of a soldier, and, you know, courage is number two. I think it's a quote like that. I can't remember exactly, but, you know, right now it's all about endurance and things like that. So it's interesting that we're talking about this, because I feel like when it gets really hot outside, it's all about that endurance, being able to keep going.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I agree with that. Endurance / resilience. The you know, a person's ability to it just endure the suck is like, it's like what we used to say in the military. It's like enjoy the suck, man, because it does. Like there's a lot of things that you got to do to suck. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be tired. Your muscles are going to be sore. You're going to be hot. You're going to be sweating. That's absolutely true when it comes to the qualities of a good soldier, of a good, especially like infantry soldier, frontline soldier, because they're the ones that are going to take the brunt of that for the combat arms guys. But yeah, man. So yeah,
what do you want to talk about today, man?
Let's do 75 hard, bro. We were just talking about it before we started recording, and I was like, "This is my jam" because I just started it again.
Yeah, I love 75 hard. This is my 5th year doing it. Honestly, I started from the day Andy Frisella launched it on his podcast. Like it hooked me. It took me 3 times to get it. Let me tell you, because the first time I did it, I literally like 12 days in tore my calf muscle, figured that out, and then. Like for some reason, the self photo thing for me is the hardest part. Like I always forget the photo. Like it's just one of those things that I get through the rest of it, the reading. Or for anyone, I don't know if everyone in your audience knows what it is, but it's basically.
I talked about it before, but if you don't know what 75 hard is, go check out the Real AF podcast by Andy Frisella. It's episode 208, where he talks about both 75 hard and live hard, which is a mental toughness program. It has a lot of aspects of physical fitness, of diet, of nutrition, reading, stuff like that. But it's really designed to build resilience that we were just talking about, to build endurance, to build mental toughness, grit, discipline, etc. Because you can actually, those are skills that you can build over time. You just have to do the right things. It's like, and Andy says in this podcast, that he had to work on being patient, right? And he's like, well, how do I do patience? How do I build my patience? And his coach at the time was like, you got to do things that require patience, and then it'll build over time. And this is the same thing. These things are specific tasks you do every single day, 5 tasks you do every single day that help to build your discipline, your resilience, etc. So definitely a game changer in terms of a program. But dude, you've been 5th year, huh?
Yeah.
I like that.
I got hooked. I don't even know how to say it. I mean, I wasn't drinking alcohol anyway at the time, so that giving that up was pretty easy for me. Like I'd only had maybe like 30 drinks across my entire 30s, just and not wanting to be. I was always leveling up my whole life. How can I level up? How can I, do more? And it's weird because around 2019 when he launched it, I was like, feel like I was plateauing. I couldn't figure out how to get an advantage. I was in Arete Syndicate and I was like, I'm still not growing. Like what's going on here? Like I felt stuck. I was reading and I've always read the 10 pages. It's weird because someone recommended reading every day when I was 20 years old as an entrepreneur. They're like, you need to read 10 to 20 pages a day of a growth book. And it's been something I've done pretty habitually since I've been 20 years old. I'll never forget. It was like right before my 20th birthday, and I was in Uruguay, and I ran into a person. I was asking them about how they acquired their wealth, and they said the key was reading every day. Not a lot, not too little, but enough where you can retain it. Not too much where it's too much for the brain to retain. And I love that phrase. Not too much for the brain to retain it. So.
Which for me is like right around 20 pages is kind of my max per day.
Yeah.
20. I've sometimes I've done a little bit more if the book really hooks me and it's an easy read, I'll do more, but about 20 pages is where I sit at right now.
Well, and I've been on a ton of airplanes, and I've spent over I think over 1,800 nights in a hotel in 24 years, or 25 years now. So I've spent basically 5 years of my life in a hotel room, based on being a business person, doing business all over the world, especially in the United States, and traveling and doing food service all over the country. But I found myself, I would get on planes and I'd read more than the 10 to 20 pages, but I wouldn't retain it as well. I'd have to go back and reread it because I'm just like, I don't even remember what that says, even though I'm like locked in on a plane. It's just your brain needs to process it. You need to be able to take that information, break it down, and then utilize it. I think that's why slowing down and taking notes, if like you have time on an airplane, you're 4 hours on a plane, it really does matter that you really slow down and have the patience that we're talking about to retain the knowledge, because it does help. And the other thing I will say is, just from that standpoint, is once you get into 75 hard and you start connecting all the pieces, like it's a moment of brilliance. Like there's that moment that we have, I will call it, we hit our head on the toilet and we get the flex capacitor, like in Back to the Future, when Doc Brown hit his head.
Mhm.
It's like that. Andy hit his head and he gave us something to get through COVID as entrepreneurs or as leaders or as business people or as family leaders of our families, because 75 hard prepared for that endurance. The thing I will say though, that, and maybe you can relate to this too, is that I didn't realize how much it would separate me. And this is not, I try not to be division minded. So please, audience, don't take this the wrong way. But it really separated me from those that have mental endurance, mental fitness, and those that don't. Like who
Yeah.
can get through hard stuff and who just gives up. Like even in my personal relationships, my friendship, my family members, it was shocking to me how many people just gave up, especially during, the coronavirus outbreak. Like people just gave up and they just stopped working or retired or threw their hands up and closed their businesses. And it was
Yeah.
just like, whoa, this is the time to hit the gas. If anything else, we need to hit the gas. But I think that from a 75 hard standpoint, it was rough the first year. I mean, it was rough, especially as you
I
get
remember
it.
my first time. It was
You know,
fucking rough. But the biggest that the best transformation I had was my first time.
yeah, exactly. I agree with you. The first time when I actually got that first 75 days, it was incredible. And then as I started getting,
I felt like I could, dude, I felt like a fucking superhuman, bro. I
yeah,
felt like I could do anything. I was just like, the world is my fucking oyster. What, like, where has this been all of my
I
life?
know.
Like, where has this feeling been? That God mode is fucking real, bro. It is the most life altering experience that I've ever had, bar none as an adult. Period.
I agree with you. And like, I was also like like really keening in my nutrition at that time too, and like neotropics, and I can't ever say the word right, but nootropics, and like something I use, Keto Brains is a coffee creamer that's like really with lion's mane, and I started really dialing into natural supplements and stuff like that,
Mm.
and it was mind-boggling what I could accomplish in a day, even with doing 75 hard and those 2 45-minute workouts a day. It felt like I should have less time in my life, but I had more. Like I have more still to this day as I'm doing it again right now. I'm on phase 1 right now. And it's just incredible how much we can get done. It's incredible how fast I can drink a gallon of water now. Like I used to choke it down the first time, like choke it down at the end of the day. Like, oh, there's dribbles. I got to get it down. Now I'm through my, 1 gallon of water by like halfway through the day. Doesn't even phase me.
Yeah.
Even the self photo, like as I get up and go into the bathroom, it's something I just do. Even when I'm not in a 75 hard cycle, I'm always in 75 hard. Weirdly, I'm so accustomed to it. It's like been trained into me. And I will say that I can be a little intense for people now, and not intentionally, but I'm so able to accomplish things and I don't put up with BS. And you learn to not have hour-long meetings. They're 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The longest thing I do in my life is podcasts. That's the longest I'm on the phone with any one person or in an interview with any one person,
Yeah.
because you start to realize that your time is your most valuable asset. It's more valuable than money. And the more you can utilize that time and turn it around, the better off your businesses are, your relationships are, the more focused. And that's what I would say, the more focused I am on those exact moments I'm spending with my family, moments I'm focused on spending with the people that matter, the team members, the vendors, the customers, the people I'm coaching.
It's
Who
it's
I
it's a more it's a more intentional attitude towards everything that you do.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of themes that you're going over here, and I want to kind of jump in here.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so first is the reading. I had not read any books at all since like college, right? Except for I hate to admit it, Harry Potter, because I love
Yeah,
the whole Harry Potter series. I've read
I
all
like
the
them
books
too.
multiple times. Anywho, I hadn't been reading books. I would ask people about it. I'd listen to audiobooks, but I wouldn't really read. And so there's a difference between listening to an audiobook or a podcast and actually physically reading it. It uses two different parts of the brain. The part of the brain that you're using when you physically look and you read, it works your conceptualization and your creativity. Whereas listening is a lot different. Like, it's a different part of the brain that's working. So here's a pro tip. If you're not good at reading and you feel like, well, every single time I read, my mind wanders and I get to the end of the page, I'm like, man, what the hell did I read? Put on an audiobook of the same book, put it at 1.5 times speed, and then read the book at the same time. This will teach you, because now it'll clear your mind. Your mind can't wander because it's hearing it and you're reading it. You're tapping into two parts of your brain to capture that information. And you're teaching yourself how to speed read, because over time you can up it to 2 times speed. You get up to 2.5 times speed, and you can start learning how to speed read. So what used to take me literally like an almost 45 minutes to read 10 pages, I do in like 10 minutes now. Not even.
Yeah.
Like I just breeze through it. So like right now I'm actually reading, I was reading before we started. I'm reading this. It's The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is a great book, by the way.
I haven't read that.
So I'm getting, because I'm about to go to Spain. I'm going to Spain next week for a leadership retreat and hike with all these. I met some guys through podcasting that they're like all these business owners, and they all get together once a year, and they go to Spain to go hike the Camino. It's a 70-mile hike. And so they're going to go, they invited me to come out, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. So anywho, reading's important. Now, you were talking about, the first thing you mentioned was, you're like, hey, I don't know if you can you relate to this, but you started to see the separation between you, performers and non-performers, and you became a high performer, and you started to witness it. And here's what this is my interpretation of what happened with me, is that as I went through 75 hard, I was the person that was like, I don't have time for that. I'm a busy entrepreneur. I'm crammed. My schedule is crammed with appointments and this, that, the other. But I didn't realize all the time I was wasting throughout the day. And there's a concept called addition through subtraction. And what that means is that you're basically, what I did is I got rid of all the wasteful shit in my life, the drinking, the overeating, the partying, the going out with friends, the things that did not serve me necessarily in this stage of life. And I started focusing on professional and personal development. I started focusing on 75 hard and more of my business. And what happened was that I started controlling my time so much that I realized I had a lot more time than I ever realized. And I realized how much time I was wasting. And that's the lie. That's the biggest lie that I think everyone tells themselves, is I don't have the time. I was having a conversation with somebody this morning, with a potential client that was talking to me about their issues with he's a coaching client, and he's getting into sales, but he's also working this other part-time job, or almost full-time. I was like, well, how many hours is it? He's like 35 hours. He's like, well, I don't really have time for this. I was like, you know how many hours in a week? I was like, it's 168 hours. You just take 35 off. How many hours do you sleep? 8 hours. Okay, well, that's, we'll remove that. And it's like, you still have 71 hours left in the week. How much time are you spending with your he said his old lady? How much time are you spending with your old lady? It was like, let's say 3 hours a day, right? For 7 days a week average across the board, right? Now we remove that. You still got like 50 plus hours. That's enough for over a full-time job. And you're telling me that you don't have the time? Like, come on, man. Like, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And when I started paying it out like that, he was like, oh, wow. Yeah. I was like, dude, you're wasting your time away. You're wasting it. You're not doing anything with your time. You're probably sitting there just spinning your wheels, being like, well, like preparing to start. And you're wasting your time thinking about starting, right? So I realized that that's what I was doing. And you get really good at identifying that voice in your head, and identifying, like, when you start to be lazy, when you start to slide and slip and drift, as Napoleon Hill says in Outwitting the Devil. And since you get so good at identifying in yourself, you start to see it all around you. And you become the ultimate just fucking laziness and bullshit detector. Because people will be like, oh, they'll just complain, like, oh, this happened and that happened. And you're just like, man, you're like, there's so many successful examples of people, David Goggins, Eric Thomas, that are just have these terrible lots in life, right? That have all these, everything going against them. And somehow they become exceptional human beings.
Yeah.
And they just did the work. It's that simple. You just do the work, and everyone's looking for this cheat code. Everyone's looking for to skate a corner or to skip a step in order to find success. I don't want to have to work out or eat nutritious. I'm just going to take this Ozempic. That's not going to teach you anything, because the second you come off of that Ozempic, you're going to get fat again, and then you also have a lot of health issues because you didn't teach yourself the discipline or the skills necessary. Same concept of, hey, what's the lottery? How many people have won the lottery and then lost all that money? Millions, tens, hundreds, millions of dollars.
Well, and I used to have a friend that was a financial advisor that would go in and help people that won the lottery to try to manage their money. And it was insane how fast people would burn through it.
Yeah.
Insane. Because they didn't have the skill set to ever manage it in the first place.
Exactly. So, that's a perfect example of your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state, right? And so the moment that you were talking about, where you're like, it's kind of like the head hitting on the toilet, is like, oh, the flux capacitor. That's like this moment of pure alignment, right? Where you realize you get this newfound faith, but it's in yourself. And you realize that, like, one, I've been a lazy piece of shit, but two, I have so much more capability within me, and like power and greatness, and I can do things on a historical scale that can really change this, like, others' lives and my life and countless lives, in order to do something great in this world. And I don't know how Andy came up with this program, but it really truly is like a perfect program in terms of getting in physical, mental, and spiritual fitness shape.
Well, and I agree with that. Actually, the spiritual part just started coming also. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I agree with you. You start seeing through people's bullshit, like on a regular basis, like
Yeah.
in all things in life. Like, I don't know why that happens. It's not only for time management, but it's whether or not they're telling the truth or not. Like,
It's friends, it's the colleagues, it's
yeah,
acquaintances, family members.
it's just crazy because for some reason, like, I don't know what it does or how it does it, but it really aligns you with the universe,
Yeah.
and aligns you with, I would say, and people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, weirdly, with God's will. Like, God's will, God's plan for us is to grow over a lifetime.
Mm.
Like, and I will straight up say it, I believe in God. But I will tell you that if God really created us and wants us to have good lives, even evolution included, like, the whole point is to grow and to better off the next generation better than we have it. It's to grow humans. It's why we procreate in the first place. So weirdly, when you start getting in this flow, like, you give back, you have time to give back and grow humans, and you have the resources to do it. You have the mental fitness, you have the physical fitness, and you have the spiritual fitness that goes along with it. And I don't know what the spirituality thing is, just mind boggling to me, especially as I'm going on, the fifth year of doing this. It is crazy how my spirituality is aligning,
Mm.
and how much I'm getting done, and how many people's lives I'm actually making impact on. I'm not talking about, running a company before, and tens of thousands of meals every day, if not, doing over 75 million meals a year, in healthcare. Like, you impact a lot of lives through food, through dreams come true, through being able to pay for people's lives. No, this is beyond that. This is not only financially helping people, this is now actually making the difference in their legacies from a spirituality standpoint, from an actual moral and ethics and core value standpoint, that makes sure that any monetary money they make or legacy they make has a chance of actually withstanding the test of time. Because normally it just erodes down from generation to generation. Unintentionally, it erodes because no one works as hard as that generation. But now you're starting to see it. Okay, a father's passing down 75 hard to a son. Okay, or those mental, physical, and spirituality toughness that I will say, it takes toughness to do it, and now it's being passed on. So it's not just, okay, this betters me, 75 hard. About 3 years in, I started realizing the impact it was having on everyone else around me. It was starting to become contagious. It was starting to become attraction over promotion. I don't even promote I do 75 hard anymore. We're just happen to be talking about it at the beginning about I just finished my second workout when we got on the phone.
Yeah.
And I don't even say anything. I'll post something on social media here and there just to try to promote it. But that doesn't ever get the response that people who see me doing it or around me being like, what are you doing? Why are you such a different person than you were 5 years ago or 2 years ago? What is going on there?
Yeah.
And really, it's that consistency and the discipline. Like I've
You put
always
out a
had.
different energy, like a different wavelength, and people can tell, they can feel it.
Yeah. And you were in the military.
Yeah.
I was not, but I can tell from being an athlete and being an entrepreneur, you have to have discipline and consistency and standard operating procedures to succeed in life.
Yeah.
This takes all of that and takes it to a whole nother level of efficiency and effectiveness.
Mhm.
And I don't even know how to describe it. I scare myself sometimes. I'm like, who are you right now? How did you just turn your day? And Ed Millett talks about this too. If we're talking about Arete, is you're turning you're taking one day and you're turning it into 3 or 4 days. Like
Yeah.
weirdly, you're dividing up your day differently. You're having these stops. You have to have the stops to get it done. You have to stop to drink your water. You have to stop to read your 10 pages. You have to stop to do your 2 workouts. You
Mm.
have to stop to take the photo. You're almost taking a pause to pick your head up, as Jocko Willink says in his book. You stop, you pause, and executive ownership, I believe that's the name of the book. I can't remember exactly. Extreme ownership,
Extreme
maybe.
ownership.
And you're picking your head up, you're pausing, and you're looking around you, and you're assessing the situation. It forces you to do that. And now it's almost like clockwork. Then it becomes a habit. You do 75 hard long enough, you've created all these habits, unintentionally or intentionally, however you want to look at it. But now, before my feet have hit the floor in the morning, I've got like a third of my water down my throat. Like as I'm getting up, I'm already on my way to the bathroom. Before I even go to the bathroom or brush my teeth, I've already got that first photo done for the day.
That's what I do. It's first thing in the morning because I do this. Dude, I do the same thing. I have this bottle. It's like 32 ounces. I chug that bad boy.
Yeah.
I chug this, and then I go in the bathroom. I use the bathroom. I weigh myself, and then I take my photo. Boom, done. Like
Yeah.
every single morning, knock it out. But it's a
What-
win. It
Yeah.
starts down for the win.
Yeah. And it's like you have less tolerance and tolerance is a word I would use, like bad behavior, bad habits of individuals in your businesses or in your family. You have less tolerance for it as you do 75 hard. You actually address those things and you deal with them, whether they stay in your life or not. Bad habits, the tolerance you have for bad behavior is the profitability of your business. It's the profitability of your family. It's the profitability of your legacy.
It's also a detriment to your mindset and a potential trap to pull you back in.
Exactly.
And if you okay it, what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious that this activity is okay, and you will eventually stop 75 hard. Like, oh, I can't tell you when people I've met, they're like, oh, I did 75 hard one time, and they're like, yeah, I did it. It's good, but like I'm never doing it again. You didn't do fucking 75 hard, bro. You
No.
did not do, because the first time I finished, bro, the next day I had a glass of wine to celebrate, and I felt disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the I felt so like all day I was on pins and needles. Like, I need to go to the gym. I need to do this. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I gotta get back on this because I cannot function in a world where I lose this feeling that I have. Like, I cannot lose this, right? If you've done the program, you know what I'm talking about. You've got that feeling, and you're never going to lose it. It's like being blessed with superhuman abilities. You now have the power of flight, and you're like, I flow around. It was fun, but I like staying on the ground and just eating my Doritos and like watching TV and bro, you ain't flown before. You ain't had the freedom of just soaring through the air like Superman. Like, come on now. You know what? You would never give that shit up. And that's what this is literally what it's like.
I agree with you. And the guilt, and you don't realize it also. Like, I think that like you start to feel depressed or
Yeah.
you start to feel down about yourself, it's really because you're not living by this new standard that you set for yourself.
You've
Like that's
created a new identity that now you're going away from. So when you see people in your life, your friends, your family, and they don't live by that standard, and you see, and that's a great way to put it. Like your tolerance for excuses, your tolerance for bad behavior,
yeah.
that tolerance and you just call it, and it's not positive or negative. It just is, right? And some people are like, dude, you're like a hard ass. It's like, dude, I'm not being a hard ass. I'm just calling it like I see it,
Yeah.
which is you're in your position because of decisions you've made. You blame everything else around you. You blame all these circumstances for your specific position, but you're not looking at all the actions you do on a daily basis that puts you there, because you are there by your decisions. Whether you decided to do something or you failed to do something, that was still a decision.
Yeah, and there are those that are going to call you a hard ass or an asshole or, Justin, you're so unkind now. Okay, dude, what you really are saying is that you can't take advantage of me anymore.
Yeah.
That's really what's happening. And even though, we are successful as business owners or entrepreneurs in a lot of ways, people do take advantage. They see what they can get away with. They're always testing the waters. But now, your bullshit detector, as we talked about, your ability to withstand it. It's like right now, like, I'm sorry, there's glitches. I can't stand that. I just brought in a new internet and the guy to fix the internet here, and I'm still having glitches. I have no tolerance for that. That's a waste of my time. I'm paying you to do a job. I'm
Yeah.
paying you to fix the problem I'm having right now. And I'm still having the problem. And I just paid more money per month for you to fix the problem. I don't have tolerance for that. So it's the same thing. Like, you're just like, before you're just like, oh, it's the internet, maybe that just happens, I could blame the weather or something, but you just don't make excuses anymore, not in your life. And you don't make excuses for other people to make yourself feel better about the way that they treat you.
Yeah.
That's one of the other things is, and you start, like, you grow. I'm forced to grow. I'm forced to look at myself. I'm forced to look at my things that I'm not good at. I'm forced to really identify my bad behaviors. Like, what is holding me back? Why is this happening? At the end of the day, if you're missing reading or you're missing a workout or you're making an excuse, you're starting to identify your character defects. There's no other way to put it. And you start honing in on them. And for lack of a better term, there's less things that people can come after you for about your flaws when you're already working on them. 75 hard makes you aware of your flaws. And so no matter what someone tries to do or tries to kick you down or bring you down or do whatever, you're already aware of it.
And you're working on it,
Yep.
like intently,
So,
more than most people that are in existence.
yeah, exactly.
It puts you in the top. It literally puts you in the top 2%, 3% of the entire world population
Yeah.
when you complete it the right way
Yeah.
and you continue it, because you literally, it's like unlocking parts of your brain. Like there's so
Yeah.
much power in the entire program, and the way that it comes together, that doing these daily things is not difficult, right? But when you have to do them consistently every single day, when you are tired, when you're sore, when you throw your damn back out, when you come home after a long day of work and you're like, fuck, it's Friday, my kids are eating pizza, I want fucking pizza, right? And you don't drink it. Or your friends come over and it's like, hey, we're going to bring some beers over and watch the game. And you're like, hey, man, I'm not drinking any beer. And you refuse it. And all these challenges that you keep going through, it builds, it's just this compounding effect on your discipline, on your mind. And like ultimately, your internal belief and love and confidence in yourself, because you start to become the person that, like, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. Right. And then there's no excuses. There's no compromises. I'm not going to change the goalpost. And that's what people do too often. They change it's like, okay, 2023, new year, new me. I'm going to the gym, baby. And then like a month in, they're like, I did it. It was okay. Like, no, you said 2023. You didn't say January, right? You said 2023, and your goal was to transform your body and get healthy. And then you quit because it gets difficult. You get sore. You feel like you don't have the time. If you're not, it's not engaging you the way you didn't get the exact change that you wanted to. It's like, What did you expect? You never fucking lift ever. You expected that you're going to lift for a week and all of a sudden you're going to come out looking like me? Get out of here. I've been lifting for 14 years.
Exactly.
Like, come on now. Like,
exactly.
And then they changed the goalpost. Oh, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock. And then 5 o'clock hits and snooze. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock. Like, okay, well, I still got up early. No, you just lied to yourself because you told yourself you're going to get up at 5. And then you lied, lost. And now you're like, well, it's still early. It's early than what, I still got to get my stuff done today. Then tell yourself you're going to get up at 6 and stop lying to yourself. Because what you're doing is to your subconscious is you're saying, I can change the rules for myself. I can set a goal. And when I don't hit it, I can just change it and justify it to still seem okay. And then you get into a hypnotic rhythm with doing that. And it becomes okay to do it.
Well, and the other thing is you start to realize that consistency actually over a long run for anyone who hasn't had it in their life, and you actually see it over a year, if you actually complete the whole program of 75 hard, your life will be different.
Oh yeah.
And one of the biggest lies in the world, the biggest lie I would say, or the greatest trick the devil ever pulls, is that we need rest. Okay. 75 hard teaches you there are no rest days. You want to succeed, there are no days off while you're alive. Rest when you're dead. You want to eat a bad meal, it doesn't matter if it's one time, it catches up with you. I've been there. I've done it. Even in, year 3, year 4 of 75 hard, I went off the diet at times when I was off the phases. And it costs you. You start seeing very quickly how bad that stuff negatively impacts your mind, your mindset, your confidence in yourself, and what's really going on. And there is no rest. Rest days don't help you. I recently went through an extreme medical thing, and they're like, you need rest. I'm like, nope, not stopping. I will figure out a way around this. I will figure out a way through it. I will figure out a way to keep moving forward, but I will not stop and rest in my life right now.
Yeah.
I am 43 years old. There is no rest. And it's hard for people to believe that, because even, I'm not saying don't go on vacation, but that my work ethic, my lifestyle, my running businesses, my doing 75 hard, it still goes with me. Eating my diet, I don't all of a sudden I'm on vacation. Now is an excuse to eat really badly, drink badly, smoke a bunch of whatever. It just doesn't happen, I will admit that I smoke marijuana every once in a while, of course, but I do still hold to there's an addiction and there's not. There's the ability to relax and there's not. But at the end of the day, none of it deters me from getting done what I need to get done. And when I'm on 75 hard and I'm in those phases and I'm on the 75 days again every year, there is nothing that really chinkers the armor. I need less and less and less outside things to make me feel good. You become less materialistic. You become less tied to money in that way. That doesn't mean I'm not driven to make it or I'm not driven to succeed. It just becomes more of a trophy at the end of the day versus something that defines you.
Yeah.
And, it's that. And without 75 hard and that influence, I will give Andy credit. It's an incredible program. It's probably changed millions upon millions of lives. But it's also a separator between the takers and the givers. I would say at the end of the day, who are the givers? Who are the people that are providing for this world, and who are there just trying to take from it? Who are just trying to live by at cruise control and not contribute? And 75 hard, you put someone through it or you suggest it to someone, you can quickly see that individual. Are they willing to go through life in the long run? Are they really loyal? Are they really dedicated? Do they really have a work ethic? You find that out from 75 hard. It's kind of crazy because a lot of people come to me, they want to do it. And I would say 10% of the people actually completed who say, oh, Justin, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Watch me do it. And there's a million excuses. And it's good for you, man. But your excuses.
My foot. I'm going outside every day and I've been walking a lot. I'm not used to it. And I think I got fractures in my foot. Shut up.
Right.
I threw my back out. Dude, I threw my back out. I went to the gym and I sucked it up. I put a fucking waistband on.
Yeah.
It was like, it tightened that bitch up tight to like keep me upright. And I was like, I'm still doing workouts. I ain't fucking quitting.
Well, and that's exactly it. We have a choice. We get to choose.
Yeah.
And that's what 75 hard gives us. Gives us the choice to choose our lives. And a lot of people, successful individuals realize that, but it's interesting how it starts rounding out everything else. Like, I would say there's plenty of people that have been successful financially, but they're miserable humans or they're not happy in their relationships. I think that 75 hard squeezes out all the things that are negative in your life, whether you like it or not, your relationships, maybe even your marriage, maybe even your best friends. Like, it squeezes all those people out. It takes away all the negative layers of your life so you can have positivity in your life. And it's hard. Like, 75 hard comes with heartache and pain also. You start squeezing out the people that don't belong in your life, and that's why I say it's a spiritual journey as well. It starts getting rid of all the negativity in your life. Anyone that's not living a good life, that doesn't have good intentions, that isn't trying to be a good human, like, they disappear. I don't know how else to describe it, because 5 years in my life, in my friend groups and my relationships, my businesses, they all look different, so.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate Justin. I appreciate you coming on. And for those of you that had listened to both Justin's first episode and today, understand that 75 Hard is a great program that can help you in multiple areas of your life. It can help you get in shape. But I think the biggest takeaway from it is it helps you to find success in every area of life. It's transcendent across your relationships. I felt like the relationships that were good, they got deeper and more. I was more intentional. My business flourished. I started breaking sales records because I was on 75 Hard, and when I finished it, I put out a different energy. I started attracting better people to my life. That, like, it just didn't even make sense. Like, I'd be like, man, I really need to find this, that, the other, and it was like they showed up. Like, they would just reach out to me, like, oh, I'm like, man, that's perfect timing. You learn how to manifest, and the law of attraction is real. So if this is something you're interested in, I just started. I'm on day 3 right now. So by the time this airs, it'll probably be like I'll be like halfway through it. But if you're interested in doing it, I do it all the time. And I'm sure Justin does all the time. You can reach out to us. It's good to go with the community. That way there's a little bit extra accountability, but you got to commit to it yourself also. You got to be ready to do the work. And so if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you watched till now, you obviously did enjoy it. Do me a favor. Do Justin and I a favor. Share this content. Share the show with somebody else that needs to learn about how to improve their life in multiple ways, how to create discipline, how to develop grit, resilience, and become just better human beings. All right. If you want to learn more about the 75 Hard, go listen to the Real AF podcast, episode 208. And Justin, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I appreciate you.
Sorry about that, man.
No, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But this has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.